Welcome to Save British Farming. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know your thoughts about the video in the comments below. So Theresa May has decided to come out and attack Boris Johnson for shattering the public's trust in MPs. But I'd just like to comment that she absolutely opened the door for Boris Johnson to be able to do this. She started this. And yes, Cameron began it by offering the ridiculous referendum right from the outset. But Pandora's box was really opened by Theresa May. She could have taken over with a clean slate and kicked Brexit into a Royal Commission. But she decided to try and get a large majority by doing a sort of Brino type thing and tricking everybody with what was meant to look like hard Brexit, but her deal was going to be some permanent transition. And she really, I don't know how she thought she would get away with this for one thing. And her playing around with this is what shattered trust in politicians and political parties. It was the ultimate act of irresponsibility. She came out in that speech and drew up those red lines.
What I am proposing cannot mean membership of the single market. I do not want Britain to be part of the common commercial policy, and I do not want us to be bound by the common external tariff, but I do want us to have a customs agreement with the EU. It is in no one's interests for there to be a cliff edge for business or a threat to stability. This will give businesses enough time to plan and prepare for those new arrangements. This might be about our immigration controls, customs systems, or the way in which we cooperate on criminal justice matters.
There was nothing on the ballot paper about what Brexit meant. It was yes or no, should we leave? And ultimately, only 26% of the population voted yes. They wanted to leave wherever we were at that time. It didn't say they wanted to leave wherever we were at that time to end up in financial catastrophe, as we are right now, and things are only going to get worse, and political mayhem. But she began a journey with Brexit, and she defined those red lines, and then she decided to take control of Parliament. She took away parliamentary sovereignty, together with David Davis, by creating this notification of withdrawal bill after the Supreme Court had ruled that Parliament had to decide if we were to leave the EU. Now, had Parliament been able to make that decision properly, it would have taken years. It took 7 years for Tony Blair's government to sort out Parliament with taking away the right to hunt foxes. And the fact that that bill went through Parliament in a matter of days tells you that Parliament did not make a decision to leave the EU. Parliament just made a decision to give the Prime Minister the power to notify a decision which hadn't been made. And Theresa May then grabbed that opportunity. She made it look as if Parliament had made the decision and given her permission to go ahead and trigger Article 50. And that is what happened. Then, of course, her deal fell, and then Boris Johnson came in with a carte blanche and delivered this dreadful, hard Brexit, which is why we are where we are now. And Brexit is only set to get an awful lot worse as our food crisis really begins to hit home and inflation gets much worse. And Theresa May is definitely responsible for a large part of this. Yes, she's nowhere near as incompetent as Boris Johnson. Yes, she wouldn't have partied in COVID like Boris Johnson. She would have been a better Prime Minister to oversee any of those things. But there is no way that she can get away with separating herself away from the absolute car crash and mess that this Conservative government have created over the last 13 years.